We're joined by Josh Bushong now, our Extension Canola Specialist, to talk a little bit more about this year's crop. And Josh, of course, we got some great rains this week. More may be expected. I'm sure producers are talking about that and have their spirits lifted as a result.
Definitely saw an increase in spirit this week. The canola crop is going to benefit from these late rains. For the most part, we have been setting pods the last few weeks, but that rain is going to help set those seeds in the pod. So we definitely need the moisture right now to have good seed set. And we are still flowering, so that moisture is going to help produce more pods than we were originally going to have anyway. So it's definitely going to be a yield booster.
Great. The yellow flowers, of course, across Oklahoma are so beautiful to see this time of year. We've heard reports of some freeze damage in wheat. Has canola been impacted as well?
A little bit. Some of those late freezes we had did set the crop back a little bit, but we haven't had the big freezes like we had the last few years, where we had multiple freeze events in April that kept setting the crop back. So this year we have been fortunate compared to the last few years, but it did kind of stunt our growth at first, but the crop has caught back up with it.
And then in terms of spring pests, you've got a couple of examples here. Talk about this area and this variety versus what we see down here. Yeah,
well, we're still trying to get a hold on insect management in canola, knowing our thresholds, when to spray, what's the economical threshold, so we're not spraying more often than we need to. In the background, we got the trial where we sprayed in late December. That pretty well kept our plots clean. Here on this side, we had an insecticide trial looking at different pests or different insecticides and fall application, and since then they've gotten reinfested and it's really stunted the crop. Some examples are the aphids infesting the racemes and kind of drawing down that bud cluster, so it's not producing like it should. So diamondback moth larvae and aphids, we still need to be out scouting. They are starting to take their toll on the buds, so that's going to be a direct hit on yield. So knowing when to spray is the biggest challenge right now. Should we spray at first notice of them, or wait for those populations to build and then spray?
Okay.
Main issue we have is our insecticides we mostly use are synthetic pyrethroids. They don't have much residual on them, so we can't spray and be good from here to harvest. So to get the most out of that product, we really need to make sure we get our bang for our buck and spray, and hopefully not have to spray again.
Okay, and in terms of spraying, there's just a guideline. It's still okay to spray certain things but not others?
As we get closer to harvest, we do have to take a note on the label, see what the pre-harvest interval is. Some have a larger or longer window than others. Some you can spray up to a week before we harvest. Some have restrictions on spraying while it's flowering. That's just kind of to prevent some beneficial injuries like honeybees. So make sure you know your product and know the label, so you're spraying when you should be spraying.
And then we've enjoyed the canola field tours this week, but you're also gearing up for canola clinics pretty quickly. Tell us about those.
Yeah, we're trying something new this year. With help with the Great Plains Canola Association, we're going to do some harvest clinics. Get out there from Texas all the way up to Kansas. Most of them are going to be in western Oklahoma. So get to the link on the website and find out where the closest one is for you. But we're going to be mostly staging the crop, knowing when to terminate the crop, either with a swath or a desiccant. So knowing that critical time of when you should be terminating the crop with the swather is very critical. So we're going to help some producers get a little bit more keen on learning how to do that, as well as do some stuff with the combines, make sure they're setting their combines up correctly and get the most out of the combine and not have too much harvest lost. Okay, sounds like a great event. Thanks a lot, Josh. And for a link to the information on those harvest clinics, just go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.